Okay, today we're going to continue looking at our special triangles. Today we're looking at 30, 60, 90 triangles. Yesterday we looked at 45, 45, 90. The 30, 60 triangles, again, are still right triangles. But they have measures of 30, 60, and 90 degrees. They are not isosceles. However, they do have special properties that allow us to find the other sides given one side. The simplest way of doing this is well, first let's identify the parts of the triangle. This is the hypotenuse, again, opposite the 90-degree angle. Opposite the shortest angle is going to be the shortest leg, which we'll just abbreviate by SL. Opposite the 60-degree angle, the longer angle, is going to be the long leg. Now I'm going to write a few rules for you to remember this by. If we're going from the short leg to the hypotenuse, then what we do is we multiply times 2. So if the short leg was 3, we would take 3 times 2, that equals 6. That would mean my hypotenuse was 6. Okay, likewise, if I know the hypotenuse and I want to find my short leg, then I divide it by 2. So if I knew that it was 6, I would have taken 6 divided by 2, which would have been 3. That would have been my short leg. Okay, that's when we're going between short leg and hypotenuse. Now, if I want to go from short leg to long leg, then I'm going to multiply by radical 3. So in this case, I'm going to take 3 times radical 3, which is 3 radical 3. That's the length of the long leg. Okay? And if I know the long leg, okay, so if we're going long leg to short leg, if we know the long leg, we're trying to, let me change that color ink. If we're going the long leg to short leg, then we're going to do the opposite. Divide by radical 3. So in this case, we would have had the long leg would have been radical 3 over 3, or 3 times radical 3, divided by radical 3. That would have canceled that out. We would have had 3, which is what the short leg was. So let's look at some examples from our notes. So here we're looking for x and y. And let's identify this. X is the hypotenuse. 11 is the short leg. Y is the long leg. If we're going from short leg to hypotenuse, remember, we just multiply times 2. So 11 times 2 is 22. That is our hypotenuse. If we're going from short leg to long leg, then we just multiply times radical 3, which is 11 radical 3. And that's our answer. Pretty simple. They don't get easier than that when you know what the leg is, the short leg is. Okay, let's look at B. Let's first identify the different parts. We've got the hypotenuse here. We've got the short leg because it's opposite the 30-degree angle. And then we've got the long leg. Well, if the hypotenuse is 30, we can go from the hypotenuse to the short leg by taking 30 and dividing by 2, which is 15. So x equals 15. And if we know that this short leg is 15, we can find the long leg by taking 15 and multiplying times radical 3. which is 15 radical 3. If you need to pause that and slow that down or look at that again, go for it. Okay, let's look at C. Now we got some radicals here, so it's going to be a little trickier. But still, let's identify. We got hypotenuse, we've got short leg, we've got long leg. To go from the long leg to the short leg now, we're going to go backwards. So we're going to take the long leg and divide it by radical 3. Hopefully you wrote that down in your notes. You should have those 4 rules for 30, 60, 90 triangle. Well, those cancel out, and we're left with y, the short leg, equaling 21. Well, remember, to go from short leg to hypotenuse, we multiply the short leg times 2. The short leg is 21. 21 times 2 is 42. That's the hypotenuse. You could check all of this with the Pythagorean theorem also. That would work. Okay, here's the next example. Y is the hypotenuse. This is opposite 30-degree angle, so that's the short leg. That's the long leg. So if I'm going from short leg to hypotenuse, I multiply it times 2. So I take 5 radical 3 times 2 equals, and remember, when we multiply, we just multiply whole numbers times whole numbers, radicals times radicals. So this equals 10 radical 3, which is the hypotenuse. If I'm going from short leg to long leg, I take 5 radical 3 and I multiply it times radical 3. If you put that in your calculator, all that does is tell you that it's 15. If you do it by hand, you end up with 5 radical times radical gives us radical 9, which is 5 times square root of 9 is 3, which is 15. Okay, next example. This is going to be the trickiest one you're going to find. You'll see some on your homework also like this. But this is your hypotenuse, this is your long leg, and this is your short leg. Well, we know what the long leg is. If we're going to the short leg, we're going to take 24 and divide by radical 3. If you use your calculator, that should be easy. If you don't use your calculator, we have to multiply because we can't have a radical in the denominator. So we multiply times radical 3 over radical 3, which gives us 24 radical 3 over radical 3 times radical 3 is just 3. Now we can simplify that fraction into 8 radical 3. So that's the short leg. How do we go from a short leg to hypotenuse? Well, we take 8 radical 3 and we multiply it times 2. Again, whole number times whole number, which gives us 16, and radical 3 stays the same. Okay, let's look at one of those on the homework. 3 is the one I think that is going to be the trickiest type that you'll find on the assignment, similar to that last example. Okay, x is your hypotenuse, y is your short leg, and 7 is your long leg. If we're going long leg to short leg, we're taking 7 dividing by radical 3. Again, we multiply by radical 3 over radical 3, which we end up with 7 radical 3 over 3. Can't simplify that. That's what y equals. Now if we're going from short leg to hypotenuse, then we take the short leg, which is this right here, 7 radical 3 over 3 times 2. That gives us 14 radical 3 over 3. And that is our x value. That's going to be as tricky as you'll get on this assignment. So that's it.